Hello sports fans, this is Steven here for JustMyPicks.com, and I'm bringing you a special NFL breakdown. We have a lot to get into. I'm going to be bringing you today the top 5 teams you need to be concerned about going into 2013 season, 2014 season. It's been a lot of movement over the past off season that we're having. We've seen a lot of trades happen. We've seen a lot of franchise type players go from one team to another, but I'm giving you the top 5 teams you should be looking for as far as Super Bowls go and who's going to be on top. We're going to start at number 5. Number 5 is very interesting because this team is very up and down. This team is, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. They go in and out, you know, and we've seen their resurgence, but we've only seen them struggle because of their quarterback play. When I talk about the Houston Texans, we talk about J.J.Watt, we talk about Andre Johnson, we talk about Arian Foster, the people that we know are going to show up. With them getting Brian Cushing back healthy from that season-ending injury he got against the New York Jets last season, it shows me that the defense, as long as this defense can produce and as long as the defense can put pressure on the quarterback, they have a chance to win. When you have J.J. Watt as your best defensive player, that always gives you a chance to be in every single game. Along with adding Ed Reed to the mix, who is a first ballot Hall of Famer, without question, will do a lot of things for that Texans defense. He can also teach those cornerbacks some of his tactics and some of the way that he's learned how to play the game of football. You get instant credibility with Ed Reed. Even though Ed Reed stays injured, he still produces while injured. So you got to take your hat off to him in that. Matt Schaub is the biggest question mark for this football team because his inconsistencies in big games, even in games that they should be winning but they lose, you have to look at Matt Schaub and say, hey, what's the problem? Is he another Tony Romo? Can he get the job done? A lot of his players have been defending him, as they should, but the big question is, can Matt Schaub get it done? They have a loaded team now. They have every key piece that they need in order to do better. Last season, I feel like they wasted a crucial opportunity because I feel like the Texans had a team that could potentially contend for a Super Bowl last season. So I'm hoping that the Texans wake up. I'm hoping that the Texans also produce this season. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the mix, but they're at right now they're number 5. Coming in at number 4, the Atlanta Falcons. Having Julio Jones, having Tony Gonzalez come back, adding Steven Jackson, having Roddy White, Matt Ryan has a full plethora of weapons to go to his disposal. This team, the only thing they need to do is worry about defense, because on defense they could not stop a nosebleed. We saw times where the Carolina Panthers came back, the Oakland Raiders came back, teams that had no business being in the same football games with this Atlanta Falcons team. They added Osi Umenyiora, but that still doesn't shore up their cornerback problems. I like Asante Samuel as a cornerback, but let's be honest, he doesn't tackle well. He takes a lot of chances and gets burnt a lot. Not to mention, the Falcons have a lot of deficiencies on defense. So they're going to have to score 40 or 50 points a game, because if they play teams like the New Orleans Saints, like the New England Patriots, who can put up high volumes of points, they're not going to be able to stay in that game if they can't stop anybody. But I do like the addition of Steven Jackson, who is in the fourth quarter will be able to run the ball that we and close games out. Like we saw last year when Michael Turner got injured and they limited his carries towards the end of the season, they couldn't run the ball to save their lives. So they went to strictly passing. So that was one of the big problems that the Falcons had, but I think the sky's the limit. Having Julio Jones and having Tony Gonzalez come back was very key, because you now have 3 legitimate number 1 options. You know, even though Tony G is a tight end, he's still one of the best tight ends to ever play the game and still playing at a high level. Julio Jones, one of the best young receivers in the league right now, is a beast, and Roddy White can catch anything if you put it in his zip code. You know, with those monstrous hands, he's physical and he gets the job done. Coming in at number 3. Number 3 was a very difficult decision, but the San Francisco 49ers fit the bill with this only because of the key injuries that they have in their wide receiving core. Mario Manningham and Colin Kaepernick have been producing over and over and over. We saw last year where the team needed somebody to step up, and Michael Crabtree stepped up time after time after time. Losing Mario Manningham last year also hurt. Having Randy Moss lost this year was very difficult. But Michael Crabtree, when he comes back to this football team, will make them very more dynamic. Having Anquan Bolden, he's one of those vacuums. You throw it in his area code and he's going to catch it. He's very physical. He likes to block also. Having Frank Gore and LaMichael James back also and being healthy is going to be a great thing. Harbaugh being a great coach, putting his team on offense and defense in key situations to where they can succeed. Also, losing Deshaun Goldston, it scares me because I know that they got the guy out the draft, Reed, that can play physical, but Goldston is one of those guys that really strikes fear, like a Brian Dawkins type player that strikes fear into the heart of the wide receivers and the tight ends, to where those wide receivers, they go out with the wide hands and come back with alligator arm because he's done laid the wood to them. So Michael Crabtree coming back will be very big for this team, but until he does and until he is fully recovered from that injury, I don't see them as being the best in their own division. I think that they have very much competition with one of the teams you'll see on this next on my list, but the 49ers defense with Aldon Smith, Justin Smith, Navarro Bowman, and Patrick Willis are outstanding. They still have the solid cornerback play that can really get the job done, but Patrick Willis is stepping up as we see in the offseason and in the regular season. He's really becoming the best linebacker in the NFL, learning different schemes, learning different plays, getting his defense together and really getting those guys to do what they need to do. Also, with a healthy Justin Smith, look for Aldon Smith to take advantage, even more advantages than he took last year with all those sacks, and really find different ways to get on the field, whether it be from a blitzing linebacker spot to even playing DN. So it's just so many things that the 49ers can do on offense and on defense. Also, Colin Kaepernick is a heck of a young quarterback. A lot of people talk about how he can't keep up the dual threat quarterback thing. If people can't stop you, how can they slow you down? So Colin Kaepernick has a great arm and great legs, so he can run past you or throw the ball past you, and that's why they're number 3. Coming in at number 2, the Seattle Seahawks. Much is to be said about Pete Carroll and how he has transformed this team. A team that lost Matt Hasselbeck and Sean Alexander, and people thought, okay, where is this going? Turns out, Russell Wilson, a lot of people were proved wrong by him last season. He was one of the better quarterbacks last season. Even though he was a rookie, he was the only rookie to also win a playoff game, so that speaks volume. Having Marshawn Lynch as your running back makes your job a lot easier. Also, adding Percy Harvin to the mix with Golden Tate and Sidney Rice should be a dynamic for that wide receiving core. Also, punt returns and kick returns are Percy Harvin's specialty. He will get down, he will do what he has to do, and also he wants to prove that he deserves that big contract he got when he was traded from the Vikings to the Seahawks. It's a lot of things that he can do and a lot of special things he can create. Great field position for the Seahawks to get their job done. Having Cliff Averill, I think that he'll have a better season than he had last season. I think that he will be naturally a good fit for this pass rushing scheme where you have all these linemen that are strictly almost pass rushers. Getting Chris Clemens back after that knee injury, they'll get him about mid-season, and he'll add and keep doing to what he was doing. Bruce Irvins, if he can stay clean and get back on the field, he will be dynamic for them. Also, Bobby Wagner. A lot of people don't talk about how Bobby Wagner, even though he was a young player, produced well for the Seahawks. You got Thomas back there at safety. Also, Richard Sherman has slowly and surely become one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Yes, he gets burned a couple of times. Who doesn't? It's football. You have bad plays. You have good plays. But Richard Sherman right now has taken over the top spot over Darrelle Revis as the best corner in the NFL. Watch out, Seahawks fans. They are really pumping out there in Seattle, and their stadium gives them an advantage. When you have East Coast teams that have to come play you, and you look at how loud they get, and it's just crazy as we've seen over the years where that really home field advantage is real in Seattle. So I'm picking up number 2 on this list for Super Bowl contenders. Coming in at number 1, the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos now are a legit juggernaut on offense. Getting rid of Willis McGahee was a good idea because he was up there in age and he couldn't really stay healthy. Noshawn Moreno, it's your time to step up along with rookie Monty Ball. And Wes Welker, the key addition to him, that was a big pickup because you take away not only Tom Brady's safety blanket, but you also give it to one of to one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history with Peyton Manning. You think he was something before he got Wes Welker. Watch what I tell you. He's going to be that much better. Wes Welker is a safety net. He also turns those 3-4 yard plays into run plays, because Wes Welker, with the dink and dunk, with the 5 yard scatter, he's so quick and intelligent and knows where to be when the ball's thrown. He's always around the ball, even if it's a turnover. You see Wes Welker sticking his nose in there, and Wes Welker would be Peyton Manning's best friend, as he was Tom Brady's best friend. He holds himself accountable. He also works to get better. We've seen him in the offseason working with Demaryius Thomas, Eric Decker, and Wes Welker. Also, Tammy, the tight end for the Denver Broncos, is going to be a big pickup in fantasy football, because when you have 3 wide receiver sets and you can throw that running back there, it causes for a lot of play action. It causes for a lot of tight end plays where he's open just by sheer choice, because you're going to have to double either Bebe Thomas, Demaryius Thomas, Eric Decker, or Wes Welker, because somebody is going to get open. Because those offensive gurus in Denver will be able to put Peyton Manning where he needs to be, and those wide receivers where they need to be. So, I mean, I'm picking the Denver Broncos to be the top Super Bowl contender, because on offense and on defense, you just can't fathom a lot of things. I know that last year they gave up that big play against the Baltimore Ravens with a blown coverage, but you look at their body of work throughout the season. Von Miller is a special talent on defense. He will also create a lot of turnovers and a lot of sacks for that team. I'm looking forward to be an exciting year next season. For the football season to just be starting in a little bit over 50 days or so, but check me out at justmypicks.com. Check me out on YouTube /JustMyPicksTV. Follow me on Twitter. And if you don't agree with this list, tell me your top 5 NFL teams that you feel like are Super Bowl contenders or on the verge of winning a Super Bowl next season. Also, comment on all my videos. Also, share my videos, and please subscribe. Thank you very much for shopping with us.